careful about.
I just think like anecdotally though, I think most men, like women just tend to abuse men when they know that they're their only source of sex. And that's where the problem comes in.
Well, what do you mean?
Like women just have a tendency to not, like, I don't know. I see so many men where they're married and the wife knows that he doesn't cheat.
Yeah.
And she just does not appreciate his loyalty. And I see women where they think that the husband either could cheat or would cheat. And they just tend to treat him better.
Yeah, tend to behave better.
Yeah. And I think that's what I was saying, where as much as you don't like it, I can see why.
Yeah, but can there be that luminous implicit threat without it ever even being stated? Like, I think there can be. And I think that those guys, a lot of those guys who can do that, they don't even bother saying, what do they need to say it for? It's well known that they can just do it.
You can't tell her.
Yeah, you don't need to tell her, right? It's not it's not important. So how's that? But how's that a prescription? There's such a small select few guys who can do that, who have.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I think it's more common than you'd think. I met this guy the other day. He was like 5'7", overweight. He was showing me his rotation. It was like 5, 22, 23-year-old women.
Was he rich?
No, he was just a good talker. He was just easy to talk to. So I don't know if it's like, from what I've seen, the PUAs, I don't think they're always the most attractive, like, or rich guys. Like sometimes they're just charming.
But they're also con artists. A lot of them. They're conning, right? Like they make that shit up. Like that guy John Anthony Lifestyle, total fucking con artist, just made it all up. And I've got an 8,000 body. It's like, shut up, dude. And then the guy tells me, he's like, I've never met a pickup artist in the world who hasn't done a tranny one or two. And I'm like,
that is disgusting.
I'm like, what, dude? What? He's like, yeah, I've never met one who hasn't. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure most of them don't. So the thing is like a lot of those guys are full of shit about their belt mark.
I've gone to events. Like I've seen them take the women home, and a lot of times it's really not. It's not always the best looking guys. They're just charming. Like
I remain skeptical in this regard. That
I mean, it's fine. Like one of the PUAs I met in like Vegas, I mean, he was not attractive at all. I mean, some are, right? Like a good amount are, but there's enough that aren't good looking that like you would. I'm surprised you would be surprised just from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be men who are exceptions to these rules. You know what I mean? But I don't think for the most part, it's available to most men to just be able to go sleep with whatever type of woman they want.
I know. It's just the challenge is there's just no incentive for men to be loyal today. Like, what do they get out of it?
Well, family. The family.
We're having like one kid each.
That's
women
true.
Aren't really having kids.
That's true. But again,
and like there's no incentive. Like the wives cheat all the time.
Yeah, but there's also wives that don't cheat at all. So the key is this: it's a matter of what. But
you
people
can't
want.
verify that. You don't.
You don't think every single wife cheats, do you?
I don't think every single wife cheats, but like my point is, if she does, there's a lot of avenues where he wouldn't even know.
There's a lot of avenues the other way too. I agree, right? But I guess the point is like it is true if we average all of the children. Yes, it averages out to less than 2 per woman. That's true. But that doesn't mean women are only having one kid. It just means that fewer women are having multiple kids and other women are having 0 kids. So it's like, yeah, there's still men who I want to see them have a family, have multiple children, and have a loyal wife. And yeah, I still think that's very possible.
It's like possible, but I don't know. I just talking to young guys, I think a lot of them don't really see that as happening for them.
Well, I think a lot of times they're
like every trend is predicting it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
That's true. Yeah, and I agree that it'll get worse.
Like, yeah. And so it's like they could hope for that, but that's not a strategy,
Well, it is a strategy though, when you start looking for what virtues are. Once men reallocate their idea of feminine virtue or female virtue, what I've noticed is that I get contacted by thousands of men all over the world. Like once I reoriented for what I considered feminine virtues to be, I started being very much more successful towards women who had held those virtues.
Yeah, but it's for now, right? I mean, you don't know how it's going to play out in 10 years and 20.
But
like
that's
a lot of women are virtuous for a period of time.
Yeah.
You just know it's tough. I think interviewing the men that were divorced kind of black-pilled me because I would just see women that in every, like, on paper were better than me in every way. They married younger. They were, like, more religious, you know. And I'm like, you know, they married at 20 or whatever, Orthodox, Catholic, whatever it is, right? And they did, like, terrible, terrible things, like awful things. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, there's like no...
There's also a heavy societal influence telling them that it's perfectly acceptable for them to do those things.
Yeah.
We had a society not very long ago we can look to where the incentives were the opposite. Where if you did those things, there was very much social punishments which would come with them. You know, single motherhood was you were considered a pariah.
Right.
You know, things like that. That's no joke. Social enforcement works. If you think that we could not propagandize from top down again for social enforcement like we used to, I very much disagree. Every single war, every single thing that people believe right now all comes from top-down propaganda. And it's like, you could do the same thing when it came to the dynamics of family and relationship, but women would have to do social enforcement towards pariahs like they used to.
Yeah, I don't think it would work.
Don't think so?
No.
You know, there's countries that it does work and is working.
How is it working?
Eastern Bloc nations. They've been promoting not only birth rates through tax incentives, but also the family unit from the top down. Younger men are reporting much happier levels when it comes to the marriages they're having with younger women. And women are acting in a more virtuous way less single moms. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of that.
Yeah, and maybe, like, you could argue that, but just, I don't think that the women on whatever are really going to change what they're doing, right?
Well, not all the women, first of all.
Like, I don't, you know.
Not all the women on whatever are bad, right? But there is, I agree.
Yeah, like.
There's a case selection of many who are, right? But a lot of them, there's actually a good amount of women who've gone through whatever who are kind of based and kind of with it and understand that there's serious and significant problems going on. You know what I mean? But there's just also the ones who you don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole and who are fucking delusional and everything else. And they come from all walks of life. I don't think that it's unfixable, though. Like, you have a more black-pilled kind of idea than I do, where you're just like, this is unfixable, let it all burn to the ground. I don't think so, though.
Well, I just don't think we have as much as an impact as you might think. Like, I don't think commentators can change trends.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
so, like,
no, hang on. Let me caveat that. Yeah. Some can, but we ain't going to. Like, some can. At like the highest echelons, I think some commentators are able to kind of shift. I've seen memes change paradigms. I've seen a single meme change the way people view a problem. So, I mean, I know that does work. But when you're talking about changing the entire social trend of a country which has been indoctrinated with feminism and communism for 100 years and has been indoctrinated with ideology, which is around women's liberation. We're all born and bred and raised in it. Yeah, that's going to take a while. That's not a fast process.